Hey guys, college football update, week 12. Yes, I'm well aware that I missed last week, week 11. Sorry about that. Just kind of didn't really feel like doing an update. Notre Dame beat Duke 38 to 7. It was just kind of a silly game. Duke is just so bad. There was just really no point to do an update. But I'm back this week, week 12. Let's talk about some of the action that happened. We will, of course, start with Notre Dame. Notre Dame beats Navy 52 to 20. I get it. You might say the same thing. Why do I care about Notre Dame beating Navy? I'll tell you why I care. Notre Dame made the playoffs last year and beat Navy 24 to 17 at the end of the year. Now, again, there's a ton of people that would say, well, Notre Dame doesn't deserving to be in the playoff, and that's why they only beat Navy 24 to 17. That's fine, whatever. That's not what I want to get into. What I want to get into is the fact that there are times, and it happens quite often, where Notre Dame will struggle with Navy. It hasn't necessarily happened that often with Brian Kelly. He's done pretty well. I think he's 8-2, maybe 9-2 at this point against Navy. So he's done really well. But Charlie Weiss before him, Lou Holtz even had a couple of touch and go moments there with Navy. So or maybe that was Army, but still, challenging. It can be a very challenging type of offense to defend. And especially just given the fact that Navy came in ranked. I mean, that doesn't happen that often. So, Notre Dame's not going to get any credit for beating Navy, and they're certainly not going to get any credit for beating a ranked Navy team, but I don't care. I'm a fan of the team. I see them play them every year. I see the fact that it is a struggle. I'm just excited that they were able to essentially completely lock down Malcolm Perry and Navy's triple option. 4 fumbles, just absolutely unbelievable. 38 to 3 at half. I really have never seen a defensive performance like that against the triple option. Not from a Notre Dame team anyway. They kind of looked more like Ohio State, somebody like that, and what they would be able to do to them. Just really, really shut them down. Such a fantastic effort by the defense, and Ian Book was completely on fire. Look, there's a lot of people that were calling for him not to play. Put in Phil Jurkovic. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's college football. For whatever reason, the entire team did not show up against Michigan, and they lost that game. It is what it is. I'm not excited about it. I'm not happy about it. But the reality is, I'd much rather they lose to Michigan in week 6 or 7 than make it to the playoff and get absolutely annihilated by Clemson 62 to nothing or something like that. So I'm fine with it. It really kind of doesn't matter at this point whether Notre Dame wins another game. I think they're going to go to the Camping World Bowl regardless. It matters to me as a fan. As far as their positioning, doesn't matter. I think they're going to the Camping World Bowl. Right now, all the stuff that I'm reading, they're either going to play Oklahoma State or Iowa State. Kind of hoping for Oklahoma State. Iowa State, no offense. I kind of don't really want to play an 8-4 or a 7-5 team. I'd much rather play, hopefully, a 10-2 team. So we'll see. Or actually, I think they'd be 9-3 probably. But still, I think Oklahoma State would be a little bit more would be better for Notre Dame to play. Plus, quite honestly, I don't want to play against Matt Campbell. You guys have heard me talk about him before. Just one of my favorite coaches that's coaching right now. So absolutely don't want to go against a team that he is coaching. Anyway, Notre Dame goes against Boston College this weekend for Senior Day. Another not good opponent, should be able to beat them pretty handily. And then they follow that up with Stanford, who is also quite terrible. So again, it kind of doesn't matter, but let's just close out the season strong. We'll see what happens. 10-2, I'll take it. Let's move on to Clemson and Wake. 52 to 3. I'll tell you, I actually thought this was going to be kind of a game. I think Wake had some injuries coming in, and that was the issue. When you're losing, when you don't have Surratt and some of your other weapons, if you're Wake, you just don't have the depth. I don't know that it would have mattered. I tend to think it wouldn't have. 52 to 3 is, that's an annihilation. So, could it have been 45 to 21? Maybe. Does that really matter? Probably not too much. I was hoping for a game. It was pretty obvious early on. I had it on the side TV. Pretty obvious early on that it was not going to be a game. So, great win by Clemson. They play South Carolina next. It's a rivalry game. You never know what's going to happen there. South Carolina has literally nothing to lose. They're 4-7. They'll probably lose that game and finish 4-8 for the season. Disappointing for South Carolina. I was really, at least for them, I was hoping for bowl eligibility. At least 6 wins. Didn't get it. So, this is their bowl game. So you never know. You never know in a rivalry game what's going to happen. Obviously, Clemson should beat them It's not always the case. It doesn't always happen that way. So we'll see. Iowa State beats Texas 23-21. That's a huge win for Iowa State. Texas, Texas is 6-4. This goes back to what I talked about recently after Notre Dame had lost to Michigan, and people talk about you gotta fire Brian Kelly, you gotta start over. What are we talking about? I mean, look at Texas. I mean, they're 6-4. Tom Herman was the coaching hire at the time. He was the guy that everybody wanted, right? And it kind of made sense. Coached at Houston, Texas guy. But 6-4. I mean, is this really where they wanted to be? I don't think so. I mean, look, the LSU loss is fine. You can have that loss, and I believe they also lost to Oklahoma, which we'll take that too. But there's two other losses that they shouldn't have had, including this Iowa State loss. Now, I will also say Iowa State has lost a lot of games, very, very close games. So, good for them to get the win. But, Texas, hey, they are absolutely not back. They are not where they want to be. I don't know what they need to do at this point. I really don't. I mean, because what do? I mean, even if they close out the year 8-4, win the bowl 9-4, that's okay. But that's not what Texas wants, obviously. So again, really, really looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. If you're a Texas fan, I don't know. I'll be honest. I'm not exactly sure where you turn after this. If it were me, I'd turn to probably a really hard-nosed coach who can come in and actually get something done. Matt Rule is that kind of guy. I don't think he's going to leave Baylor to go to Texas. Well, he might leave Baylor to go to Texas, but it's an in-state thing, so I don't know. We'll see. But, they need to do something. So we'll see what happens there. They're not going to make any move. I'm just saying this is not trending good for them. Oklahoma beats Baylor 34-31. Baylor had a 21-point lead. Look, if you look at Baylor's schedule, they've had a lot of close games as well. They actually beat Iowa State that I was just talking about by a couple of points. So, I'm not completely shocked that they lost that lead. Oklahoma has the ability to score really quickly, obviously. So, hey, I'm not surprised, but I'm absolutely not sold in Oklahoma. I absolutely don't think they should make the playoff. There's nothing that I see in them where I'm like, wow, they're dominant or they should be in, the conversation. I don't think so. In fact, I would not be completely shocked if they didn't lose again. Oklahoma is skating by the last couple of weeks. Barely beat Iowa State, knocked down the 2-point conversion to win that game, and then barely won this game too. So Oklahoma, absolutely not, in my opinion. They should not be in the playoffs. No, they're not doing anything to show me defensively that they can stop anybody, that's what I've always said. I mean, come on, Big 12. One team get a defense, please. I mean, wouldn't that be great? Kansas State, I think, is trending that way, and I'd love to see that. I'd love to see at least one team have a defense. Oregon State, again, beats Arizona State 35-34. I got to tell you, Oregon State is, without a doubt, my favorite team this year. Just really making strides. They're 5-5. They could perhaps win. Going into this week, they play Washington State. That's a winnable game. They could win that game, go 6-5, and then in the Civil War against Oregon, they're already bowl eligible. Man, it's at Eugene. That's a problem for Oregon State, but man, that's very exciting. I'll tell you, I remember years ago. I believe Oregon State. I think they were 4-6, maybe 5-6. They might have been 5-6, and it was Mike Riley's third year there or something, and they were playing Oregon. I want to say they were 5-6. I want to say that, and they were playing Oregon, and they were trying to win to get to bowl eligibility. And it would have been the first time that Oregon State had gone to a bowl in, I don't know, since the 70s or something. It was ridiculous. They hadn't gone to a bowl in forever. They didn't win the game, but it was so exciting. That's what college football is all about. You know what I mean? Just trying to elevate this team who's just absolutely stinks all the time. They make the bowl game. Look, the fact of the matter is, Oregon State, their program was built by Mike Riley and Dennis Erickson. It was about a 10-year window there where that program was built. And I look, they've actually beaten Notre Dame in 3 bowl games, 2 Insight Bowl games and 1 Fiesta Bowl over that period of time. And I still like them. I still kind of root for them. Just historically have not been good. But man, this is exciting. I love to see this. I would love to see how they're going to end out this season. It would be great for them to get to bowl eligibility and then maybe win the bowl game, I mean, wow, it's going to catapult them into the next year. So everybody predicted them to win 4 games. Right now they're at 5, could get to 6, and could potentially get to 7 or even 8 if they win the bowl game. Wow, don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to get to 6, get to a bowl game, hopefully win that, but 7 wins would be huge for them. So keep an eye out on the rest of the teams. And by the way, Rice finally got their first win, 1-9. I get it. Everybody thinks that's funny. Rice is playing tough. I'm telling you, wouldn't be surprised if they won another one before the end of the year. Gets some good vibes going into next year. Certainly better than Vanderbilt is doing. All right, guys, enjoy the games this upcoming weekend. Thanks.